Well, hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jerry Donahue. I'm a career coach and an instructor with Career Transition Center. And today we have a topic we think you'll be very interested in. And it's basically overcoming ageism in the workplace. And we know that's a factor in the hiring decisions in some cases for hiring managers. And so we wanted to provide you a little bit more detail in that regard that you can use in your career discovery and in your career planning. So basically, ageism or age discrimination is a practice in the United States. Typically, employers obviously are not going to mention any of this, but it does occur. And as a person with experience like yourself, you should be aware of this, and it could be a factor in the hiring process for a hiring manager. And so here are going to be we have some suggestions for you, 8 suggestions, to help you become more positive about this possibly difficult area when you're doing interviewing. So these are coming, and you'll see at the end of the session here from some research we've done in terms of resources to use for people that are trying to overcome ageism. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. So number 1, and we'll call them strategies, all right? And this is probably one of the most important ones, that as a senior person, as a person with work experience, and you need to show some energy and show that you have a positive outlook towards the workplace, and obviously in this case towards an interview and the company that you're interviewing with. So smiling doesn't hurt any. Certainly you want to make the interviewer feel really good that they're talking to somebody that could be a potential hire. And so that's somebody that you really want to get across your qualifications. Okay, and then this is the part where you have to do some homework, and it has to do with what's going on in your industry and your job description so that you're familiar with it, because this is one of the first things that an interviewer may get to, and that is the idea of, well, what do you really know about our business? What do you know about the current practices and terminology that we're using? So this is where you need to do some homework. Again, make notes, be specific, be able to bring these up either when you're answering questions or to ask questions at the same time about how they're using a certain, for example, technology in the workplace. And number 3, another important aspect, and I think you recognize this, is that you have to show that you're open to learning new things. That's critical. Nobody can know everything about every job. You're always learning. So the trick here is to give examples of how you have learned in the past, specific examples, and where you did it, type of business that you were in. And this is the part where we're going to talk about transferable skills. The ability to show what you've done in the past might relate to what the company is looking for you to do in the future. So this will give the recruiter an open mind. They'll be more willing to listen to you. You don't have a closed mind about learning new things. And then I'm sure you're aware of this. Not only do you want to mention that you're a team player, but give good examples. And here's a case where the multi-generational workforce comes to play, because again, you may be supervised by a boss that's many years your junior, and you may even get a question indirectly or directly about how do you feel about that? Somebody that's much younger than you telling you what to do. So what I would advise is give some examples to show when you've had a supervisor and what you did, how you responded, what was the result of that. And the other side of it is also the great diversity in our workforce that we're striving for. Give examples of where you've worked with a diverse population of people in your office, in your business, wherever it might have been, because this is a factor that, again, employers are looking for, the ability to work with a wide variety of people effectively. And if you can give specific examples here, that can be very helpful. And so I mentioned before the idea of transferable skills. So here's some homework for you. You need to look back then. You've got an idea of what the job description is. You're going in for the interview. And now what you need to do is think about, and I would say write down examples of what are your transferable skills that relate to this position. Because employers are going to be saying, well, yes, you have experience, but how does that relate to this job? And if you can show that you have certain skills that you developed, learned, new certifications, education, whatever it might be, that you can cite specifics, that can be very helpful when you're showing, again, you're willing to learn new things, you're able to adapt to a new environment. And so these are transferable things, that skills that match what the employer might be looking for in any candidate, not just you, but any candidate. So number 5. This one is somewhat of a personality issue, and that is, how do you connect to other people, especially people that may be different than you in age or background, whatever it might be. So again, this is something that you can practice learning, and I would encourage you just to use a practice time on, use your phone and video. Ask yourself some questions. Are you smiling? Are you asking about certain questions about the person that you looked up on LinkedIn ahead of time? Maybe you researched them, you researched the company, you have your questions you're going to ask. So you want to mention common terminologies, references that are used nowadays in society. So you don't want to go back to things that you were referring to 20 and 30 years ago. You want to be trying, at least as much as you can, be up to date on what you're using. Humor, again, may or may not be the answer. Some of us are naturally have a nice sense of humor and can bring that into the interview. Others of us are not. And don't try and force it one way or the other, but you want to be pleasant with the person, but yet be able to give specific answers to their questions. Number 7, listening techniques. And of course, again, you will know this, but again, it takes practice, and that is using engaged listening techniques, nodding your head, agreeing with the person, mentioning things, repeating the answer. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Very good. Because again, they may be testing you to see if you pick up on their terminology quickly or pick up on their ideas quickly. So it's going to show that you're sincerely interested, you're very paying attention. Another technique that maybe you already use is don't lean back if you're sitting down. Don't lean back against the chair. Sit up straight, be alert. Good eye contact. You don't have to stare at them, but good eye contact is always good to have in mind. So these show that you're engaged, you're really sincerely trying to make a good impression, you're trying to share information, right? It's a conversation. That's what the interview is supposed to be. And so you're trying to actively be involved in this, both asking questions and showing sincere interest in whatever topic that the interviewer is covering. And then number 8, this is again somewhat of a personality type. Some of us are better at this than others, but you can get better. And that is, think about some of the successes you've had in life, and were they part of a team, for example. And you want to mention that you are a person that works well with a team, hopefully. And here are some examples, like I shared the award with other people. We were the best employee of the month or best team of the month, and we shared that employee with our team members. So the idea of humility, and again, this is how you come across to the employer. It's a personality factor as well, but certainly keep it in mind so that you're always thinking about others in the workplace. Give examples of that. Sometimes it's social connections, social meetings, different things that you've done in your life, in your career, where you were part of a social aspect of a company. And how did you deal with that? And that's a good example to keep in mind to show that you can adapt to the new environment, whatever group of people you're going to be going into as a team member. So from those particular 8 examples came from these resources. And so we have listed here, we hope some of the resources, way more than what we can do here in 10 or 15 minutes, that you can use to overcome this. And I just want to reiterate that you can do it, but you have to have the right outlook. So it's not a difficult thing to do, really, if you have the right point of view that you can do this. You're a qualified person that has wonderful experience, and now you have to show that and prove that to another person or persons in the interview process. And you have to keep a positive and helpful but humble outlook when you are interviewing. So best of wishes on this. We hope it was helpful to you. And certainly you can always contact the Career Transition Center for questions. Thank you.